Hi, I'm Meg Riley here in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you're back for another episode of The VUU, where I am getting biofeedback from someone. Oh, Hank!
Hey, what is he doing?
I believe he's mowing the lawn.
I think someone is still on his summer vacation. What do you think?
I know, my gosh. He's so correct, though. He has a push lawnmower. That's really, you know.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. I think we should give him some kind of green award, you know. I thought I was doing good. I had electric battery cordless one, but
yeah, I've got the plug-in one where I drag the cord around the lawn. Shauna, can you mute that joker?
Yeah, whoosh.
Woo,
That was a
thank
frightening
you.
night.
Oh, that was scary. Just so you know, viewers, that surprised us, too.
Yes.
That's Hank. So we are back. Meg Riley in Minneapolis. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Joanna Fontaine Crawford, and I am here in Cedar Park, Texas.
Woohoo! Hi, everybody. I'm Patrice Curtis, and I am in Concord, California.
And I'm Tom Shade, and I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where my lawn needs mowing.
You could call
Hank could do
He's
it.
very eager for the job. I'm Shauna Foster, and I'm in Denver, Colorado, doing tech support for The VUU today.
Ah, great.
Fabulous to have everybody back. We took a month off, and aside from Hank, who clearly is not back yet, today we just thought we'd share how we spent our summer vacation and what we've been up to. I know vacation is a general term that may or may not actually describe what people have been doing. So it's more how I spent my summer, what's up. We don't have a guest today. We're just kind of coming back, and we got feedback at GA. I know Tom told me this, and I thought it was very funny. One person said, I love it when you guys just chat with each other, and I love that part. I never watch the guests. And another person said, I hate it when you guys chat with each other. I skip that part, and I only watch the guests. So today we're going to please the people who like it when we chat with each other. Tom, you didn't make that up, right? People really...
No. I mean, it was... Yeah, that was true. I had... Each person... persons told me that. Yeah. They like the, the informal stuff, funny stuff. And then, they think we get too serious. But then, other people are more serious. So.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me that we should write a mission statement and a covenant and get a lot more focused about what we're actually doing with this. And she said, what is the purpose? And I said, fun. The whole purpose of this is just fun. And we learn stuff, too. But, it's...
How did that go over?
Well, it wasn't what she wanted. And I said, hey, Google on the Air is a great platform. You could do a different show. And there's room for many of them. I hope other people do shows. So anyway, so I'm delighted to say that the guests who have been doing this now for a year, the hosts are game to try it some more. So we're going to keep going, but several of you have major life changes going on. So why don't we start with you, Joanna? You are in a different place than you were when we stopped.
Yes, I am in a different place, literally and figuratively. I am here in my new office at Live Oak UU Church in Cedar Park, which is a suburb of Austin. Really happy to be here, and outside of my window, you would love this, Meg. We have these terrific gardeners, and I don't know, because I don't know plants. I don't know what it is out there, but apparently it's really yummy to butterflies and hummingbirds, because I'll look out my window and they're all clustered out there. So just gorgeous. People are wonderful. But yeah, move. wow. At some point I tweeted and I said, okay, here's my advice for those of you, considering a move. Don't. I mean, I am so glad that I did, but, I read something by Dave Barry years ago that said, when you're getting ready to move, take all your belongings, bring them out into your front yard and just set them on fire. And having gone through that, there is some wisdom to that.
Well, Patrice, you're probably listening to that with a sinking sensation in your heart.
Well, no, not completely, because I'm getting ready to go serve All Souls Church in Washington, D.C. It's a one-year contract, so I'll be a consulting program minister. So I only have to take some things with me, and probably really very little. And I will be starting out by, this is very, very strange for me, and I am sure for my friend, but I emailed a friend and said, hey, can you tell me a little bit about the DC, rental market? And she said, why don't you live with me? And about drop my teeth. And so I have a place to start off with the agreement between us that, if it doesn't work out, she'll help me find some other place. But that means I really only have to take sort of all the books I just absolutely cannot live without, and not quite sure how many books that will be, but it'll be a lot probably, because inevitably you get somewhere and you go, why didn't I bring that book? I need that book for this one paragraph or this one sentence. But yeah, clothes. Don't have to bring things like the breakables, which I know those are the worst to have to pack up. Oh my gosh. So, Joanna, I'm feeling for you, but I'm glad that you've landed. And I was just listening to something on NPR, and the woman was saying, yeah, I've been living here a year, and I've been so busy I haven't even unpacked my boxes yet. I think it was a year, or I don't know, she's been there some time. So I hope that not for you.
Well, we are still surrounded by boxes, but, what is it that Brene Brown says about how shame is not a good motivator? Okay, but guilt can be, and I have to confess, as we were packing up from our house in Houston, where we had lived for 9 years, we were going through the garage, and we found one box from the previous move that we had never unpacked. So we got that feeling of, oh my gosh, that can never happen again.
Well, so I ask you, though, that would have been the perfect box to take it to the yard and burn.
Right.
Clearly, you didn't need what was in it.
Exactly. That was exactly what I was like, oh, no, let's not even look. Let's just take it to Goodwill or whatever. But we couldn't resist. We opened it, and it was one of those, oh, man, I've been looking for this for 9 years. I don't even remember what, but.
See, you still don't remember.
No. I will tell you, though, any of you who have issues with clutter, and maybe you've been wanting to do a big decluttering of your house, move. That'll take care of it right there. Boom.
It's true. When I think about moving, the sheer gravity of my stuff makes me say, really? You really want to do that? And I think it would be freeing to liberate myself from some of it. But
it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom, did you downsize when you guys moved from Massachusetts to Michigan?
Well, we've never lived any place longer than 7 years, so we keep shrinking all the time. We downsized a lot when we moved from the suburbs into the city, because we moved in Boston into a 1,400 square foot condo, so that got rid of a lot of stuff, and then we moved here, and we got rid of a lot of stuff. So we're pretty slim at this point, though. If we had to move again, I can already see whole piles of stuff we've never really, done anything with that we would want to get rid of, that I'd want to get rid of, Now,
I have to ask you, Tom, do you move, because you have grown kids, yes?
Yes.
Have you, during all of these moves, ever taken their stuff with you? Have you become kind of the storage for their memorabilia?
Nope. No,
I am
those
glad.
are called good boundaries, parental boundaries.
When did
I am
that
glad to hear
end?
that.
When did
What?
that end?
Yeah.
How old were your kids when you stopped being
Well,
there?
my kids are 32 and 35, so you know they've been on their own for a long time at this point.
Yeah, but my dad.
You
when
never
my
did
dad
that at
died-
all?
When my dad died, all the kids still had stuff in their attic from 30 years ago. I mean, you could be any age and not move your stuff.
Well,
See,
you
I
know.
was trying to be good with the tough boundaries about that because my oldest is starting college back in Houston actually, and so I was telling him, okay, we will store one box of things for you. I don't know how many boxes we wound up with. But, it was like that was never even a real consideration.
Well, see, I've been, Gia's just coming into senior year, so in my mind,
Okay.
after Gia's finished with high school, I could move, I could live anywhere, and then Gia said to me recently, most kids have the security of knowing that when they go to college, their stuff that they love but don't want to take to college is safely cared for by somebody who loves them. And I went, ugh, I hadn't thought about that.
Oh,
Oh my
When I
God.
left, I put all my stuff in a storage container and paid for it 10 by 10 because I didn't know if my mom was going to move or not. So
Now that's smart.
Yeah.
I consider doing the Greek tradition of the breaking of the plate. Have y'all heard of this?
No.
I think it's Greek, right?
I think it's Italian. I think it's the New
it
Year's
Italian?
in Italy, yeah.
Where when you're of age to live on your own, you symbolically take that child's plate and break it to explain to them that this is no longer your home. You got to go find your 18 seems a little young for that, though.
I want to hear, Joanne, the day that you do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to hear you. I want to hear
That's the day.
I'm waiting.
That's
Yeah.
I know I'll be waiting a long time.
That's kind of an anti-bridging ceremony, isn't it?
You're out in the
They say
air.
that used to be our strategy for young adults in the UU churches.
But that harkens back to the day when everybody had one plate. Now you have to just go around and smash a lot of things.
Can't you just see your child looking at you going, oh my gosh, my
Oh my
mom's
God.
finally lost it.
Well, I think in my house, plate smashing just happened naturally. Like, there was no ceremony. It was just like, this is it. Goodbye.
It does, and also some of my kids, like my youngest one, who's only 9, is very independent. If she saw that, she'd be like, "Where's my plate? I'll break it myself. Give me car keys, give me my own apartment. I'm ready to be on my own."
Yeah, I was kind of like that. I was like, oh, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Although I do have to say, that I did leave a couple of cherished boxes of stuff, and I'm not even sure they were packed. So that was kind of my bad.
Mm-hmm.
But when my dad decided to move, he called the junk man for stuff that he didn't really know whatever to do about it, and bye-bye. And I think I was overseas at the time. I was definitely overseas, so I just didn't even have a chance to recover. So the one thing that I miss is I had a scrapbook of science fiction stuff that I kept. And that is the one thing that I'm like, man, I wish I had that scrapbook.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's a
Yeah,
sad story.
Well,
Yeah,
Hank, look who's joined us here. Hank, we muted you a long time ago. We can't hear a word you're saying. You've been muted this whole time, man. We couldn't listen to that lawnmower thing. There you go. You thought
You're still muted.
you thought my furniture moving was bad. That lawnmower, man, that was bad.
When do we go live? When do we start?
Is this the new thing in bivocational ministry? Nick? Lawn guy during the day.
He's gone by, finally. He's gone by.
So you're going to now be a green grass cutter, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Don't let the church. I've seen that lawn in Milton. Don't let the church see that. I've seen that lawn in Milton. They have a huge lawn down there. You'll be out there all day Monday and Tuesday.
Are you in a hammock now?
Yes, I'm in
Is
a
that what you're
hammock
talking
now.
There you
You're in a hammock.
It's the summer, right? I'm in the hammock now. I finished the backyard. You know, I got still the front and side yards to do, but you know,
Summer's
it's
not
summer,
over.
right?
That's
Summer's
right.
not over. I'm still living large here.
There you go. The living is easy.
I think for the VUU, the next promo, we should just have a screensaver of Hank going back and forth with the camera, so that people can, and then just like a thing that says the VUU, 11 o'clock Eastern Time.
We could have run that the whole. We could have run that the whole month of.
The whole month
of
July.
Right?
July. Now, Hank, you just got back from a pretty big trip, didn't you?
I did. We did. The family and I went to. Whoa, what's going on here?
You're rocking.
We had 2 weeks.
You're making us all seasick.
Right.
Okay, I'll try to come. Sorry, trying to strike a balance. Yeah, we just spent 2 weeks in Europe. We went to Northern Ireland. My mom is from Belfast. We were over in Northern Ireland visiting relatives and getting my daughters to have a chance to go and meet my mom's cousins and to see where my mom grew up. When we went to the we went to the house that my mother grew up in, which is a very nice little brick attached house in Belfast. My oldest daughter was like, "This is it? I thought Granny would live in an old haunted house." Like, no, honey, no. So we did that, and then we after 6 days in Belfast, we went down. We spent a day in Dublin, which was great, and I went to church there at the Unitarian Church in Dublin, and then we went to Germany. We were in Berlin for 5 days.
Wow.
Any reason Berlin? Particularly?
And which was great, and it's for a whole bunch of reasons. It was great, and hung out with some friends. What particularly?
Any reason
Berlin?
when you went to Berlin? Yeah.
What were we saying?
Why Berlin?
Oh, I've got a lot of friends. I have a bunch of friends who live there, though I was only able to really hang out with one. But I'd spent some time in Berlin in the late 80s and early 90s, so it was kind of fun to go back. And then we went.
I had a house
the
guest.
culmination of our whole trip. Yes, yeah, that's great. So anyway, we ended up in a wedding in Germany.
Okay. I was going to say, the great musician Amelie Brennett was here recently, and she had just been to Berlin. And she said what she loved about Berlin, which she loved as an artist. She said there was just a ton of art there. But being Amelie, what she led with is, it's filthy there. I just loved it. No one picks up after their dogs. There's graffiti everywhere. I was like, interesting thing to lead in with why you love a city. Did you also think it was filthy?
It's true. You know, it is. My wife Rebecca, who had never been there before, Rebecca loved it. She said it reminded her in part of Montreal, in that there are parts of the city, that are still dealing with, the sort of the aftermath of the wall, and
Losing Hank.
The city that are new and sharp, and I think that's one of the things I love about Berlin too. One of the things that was really cool is that there was an airport right in the center of the city, which had been sort of like Hitler's personal airport, and then during the Berlin airlift days, that was the main airport, and it closed like 3 or 4 years ago, and the city had wanted to take it and build condos on it, but the people in the community said no, let's leave this as a park, let's figure this out over a long term. And so it's just this amazing huge park, and we hung out, we played mini golf. Somebody had set up a little mini golf course up there. There were all kinds of neat things going on. There's a whole barbecue area called Grillenplatz, which I thought was very German. It was just it's a great, really good out to the country to this wedding, this very German wedding of sausage at every meal. It was a bit crazy, but it was I don't know how the Germans don't have rickets with all the meat they eat.
That's true. Gia and I were there, and I must say, if I never saw another sausage, I just we ended up eating at a Chinese restaurant all the time, so we could eat like tofu and vegetables. I mean, it just was, yeah, every meal was like, here's your meat, you know. But anyway.
Well, I'm going to Berlin later in October, so.
Are you? What are you going to do there?
This is just
Oktoberfest.
a pure pleasure trip. We're going on a boat from Berlin to Prague, so you know we'll be there for a couple of days at the beginning of it. So.
Oh, way cool.
You know.
Huh. I'm going to Brussels in October for the European Union meeting. I'm going to keynote that, so that'll be fun. Yeah, I've never been to Brussels, Belgium. Well, it's actually I'm flying to Brussels and then going to some retreat center. But yeah, there'll be people there from all over Europe, and you know, who doesn't want to do that? I wish I could stay longer and have a vacation too, but October, not a good month for that. So.
Anybody out there who wants me to fly me somewhere in Europe, I'll keynote anything you want.
Oh yeah, the VUU. I'll put a word in for you.
Anything you want, really, about anything. You know, give me a week. Give me a week to do, you know, some Mr. Google and Mr. Wikipedia. I'll be ready on any subject.
Sausages of Germany.
just you can get in touch with me through the CLF, really. You know,
there you go. He's our itinerant preacher here at the CLF.
I'm going to go anywhere. So after a while, Ann Arbor gets a little dull. I went to Mississippi this summer. That's how, you know, I mean, that's not a tourist trap, I'll tell you.
What did you do in Mississippi?
I went on the Living Legacy tour for
How
1964 Civil Rights Freedom Summer.
Yeah.
We spent a week down in Mississippi with Gordon Gibson and Christian Famula from the College of Social Justice. We saw all these people. We met all these people. We met James Chaney's daughter. We went to the grave. We saw Medgar Evers' house. We saw, I mean, just unbelievable people, heroic people in the 1964 struggle. It was just great. It was just great.
Well, that's
fabulous. If you ever have a chance to do one of the colleges, either one of those Living Legacy tours or a College of Social Justice trip, do them. They're well run. They're good. They're very, very exciting. And you meet interesting people.
How many people were on the trip?
There were 15 of us.
Uh-huh.
And then there was Gordon Gibson and Kristen, and then there was two people from the South who were, you know, kind of our hosts as well. So, and guides, and it was very good. Oh, the food though, you know, we ate a lot of Southern food.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
A lot of color.
A lot of New Southern or a lot of Old Southern? A lot of fried or not fried so much?
Well, you know, most places, even the real community soul kitchen kind of places have non-fried. You know, they're getting more conscious of the nutritional stuff. So, you know, it wasn't easy for our, you know, fully strict vegetarians. You know, because a lot of times, like, you know, there'd be lots of greens, you know,
collards with
greens,
a little piece of salt pork,
beans, but all cooked with bacon, you know.
Yeah.
To me, I'm going, this is the perfect food. You know,
that's my people right there.
Yeah,
that's what I grew up on.
I'm German too, so I like a little sausage with anything. But you know, so it was a great trip. It was a great trip.
And I went on I've been on a 2-day version of that, but not the whole long one. So you went to Selma, and you.
No. This was all Mississippi.
Oh, it was all Mississippi. So where all did you go?
We went to Memphis. We started out in Memphis. And
is Memphis in Mississippi? Sorry.
Memphis is actually Tennessee.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, there's a great joke from this 1964 era from Mississippi, and it's a Yale seminary, and a Yale chaplain gets a call in the middle of the night from God saying, "Go to Mississippi and preach my word there." And you know, the chaplain goes, no, not why me?
No.
You know, so of course the God calls him 3 times. You know, of course, finally the 3rd time, do it, I'm afraid. He says, "Don't worry, I'll be with you, at least as far as Memphis." Because Memphis was where people started out from, and that was the last. You know, you were really in '64. You're really moving into much more hostile territory when you went into Mississippi itself. The three guys who were killed, I mean, they were killed in the first day they were there. I mean, one of them lived there, and one of them had been there for a week, but they had gone away, come back up north for training. They had come back, and the Klan killed them the first day. They were trying to send a message to scare everybody away. So so we went to Memphis, and then we went to Jackson, where we saw Medgar Evers' home, and then we went to Tougaloo College that day, where we saw Ed King, who was like 80-something, and he was the chaplain at Tougaloo College, which was a historically black college in Jackson, and he was the vice chair of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. And so he was involved, and remember in 1964 when they sent the delegation to Atlantic City, and you know, to unseat the regular segregationist Democrats. This guy was in the room when he was negotiating with Lyndon Johnson's representatives on that whole thing, who were Hubert Humphrey and Walter Reuther. Right, so he had great stories from that era. And then we went down to Hattiesburg, and we met the Damer family, which is this family that had been burned out, and he had been killed over voting rights. And we went up to Philadelphia and Meridian and Greenwood, and we went to Fannie Lou Hamer's grave site, and we went to, I mean, it was just, we did everything that I had heard about before, and lots of things I had never heard about, and it was a wonderful trip. Met wonderful people, local folks who still knew the struggle and still were, you know, a lot of those folks are getting up there, you know, at this point. So it was good. Now, you know, I'm going to go back, and in March, you know, there's the big Selma 50-year thing, and a lot of people are going to that, and anyone within the sound of my voice should start thinking now about going to Selma for the 50th anniversary of the Selma March.
Do you have dates for the
voting rights thing? I do. It's, I think, March. I'll stop talking. Somebody else tell what they're doing all summer, Patrice, and I will be back to you with those dates.
Okay. Patrice, aren't you going to be in part working on voting rights when you go to D.C.? Isn't that
I will.
part of your portfolio?
Yeah, it's so All Souls has a project which I can't speak at length because I haven't dived into it yet, but it's called the James Reed Project, named after our VUU minister who was murdered fighting for voter rights down in the South. And it's it's just a very cool way about going about this. But basically what All Souls has done is partnered with a couple of VUU churches in North Carolina, and folks are actually going down there once a month. We'll be going down in September, and we'll also be going down in, well, I'm not sure if we're going in October, but we're definitely going around Election Day. And the whole idea is that James Reed was minister at All Souls Church. All Souls Church folks feel very passionately about the attempted rollback of voter rights. And so, you know, we are going down to witness, to support our, you know, sister smaller churches. And I am hoping that folks will also want to go to Selma. So we will see how that fits in. I haven't had a chance to talk to Rob Hardees, who's the senior minister there, about, you know, what's going on in March. But I have a twinkle in my eye and a hope. My stepmother was actually born in, I think it's Alabama, and she was at Selma. And so I've heard a few stories. She wasn't really active. She was, I mean, she wasn't one of the, you know, she wasn't arrested or anything. But she was one of the, you know, thousands of people who were there basically witnessing and being just part of the mass of what went on down there. So I'm itching to get going. Still wrapping up some things here, but I'm really excited. I also really discovered in some weird way that just happened. Actually, my partner found this. when I was a young whippersnapper, I spoke at, I think was the 25th anniversary of MLK I Have a Dream. I was really active at that time as a feminist with the National Organization for Women, and there were many organizations. It was from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. There were a lot of organizations that were involved, and a lot of the organizations were given a minute with the current president or leader of their organization, and then 30 seconds from a young person who's also involved. And I was asked to speak on behalf of National Organization for Women, and I've always wondered, if I would ever see that, because I never saw it. And don't you know, my partner did a search and found finally on C-SPAN, like they're starting to put up a whole bunch of old stuff. And so I actually, had a chance to see what I said, and it was kind of fun because I remember what I said, and I remember how it was like dropping a lead balloon, because I was talking about how women were portrayed in rap, and I was like, yeah, and then they're listening to what I'm saying, they're like, oh, what? Because it was just one of the things that just bugged me. It was just so disrespectful to women, and I had actually asked a bunch of people, a bunch of women, so what is it that's really burning? Which like really, bugging you? And amongst my friends are like, oh man, that rap is so horrible. It's calling women, this, that, and the other, and that'd be a great thing. And so I went out there, but hey, wasn't necessarily the right time or
You were ahead of your time.
Right.
But it was really fun to actually finally see that. And
how fun.
Yeah.
Did you
just having this month, and now or a couple months ago, and now I'm getting ready to do this work, which was not foreseen. So it's really kind of cool.
Very cool. Hey, Shauna, you've been really quiet yourself. You're in Denver, Colorado, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Denver. My grandma is here, and she is in the very defiant, I don't need anybody's help stage, so of course the whole family is flocking to her so that we can be nearby and not helpful. So that's in her estimation. So I'm in Denver right now with my family, and we've just been having a great time out here. We went to Mount Evans, and today after the show we're going to go to Cave of the Winds. Have you all heard of Cave of the Winds? It's this huge cave, and they have this new ride called the Pterodactyl Terror Drive or something, and I think I'm going to get on a dinosaur and fall to my death. I think that's the plan for finishing up our vacation today.
I really wish you would.
And this is a medical marijuana place?
Right. That's right. They pick you up really high.
I'm a little confused. What?
Actually, my mom was looking for jobs here, and every single place she got an interview at asked, we are going to do a drug test, and if you test positive for marijuana, you can't work here.
Is that really? Even though it's legal? Wow.
So, I mean, it's still up to the business to decide whether or not you frequently under the influence is part of their job. So, I mean, So we haven't done anything legally either, because, well, she works in IT, and I obviously work in ministry. But
I wonder if, I wonder if that'll be tested, because they don't do tests to see if you drink,
but
we're going to do a liver test.
That's
it's still illegal. It's been decriminalized in Colorado, but it's still illegal by federal rules. So that's the thing.
No, but I was in Colorado. There are marijuana stores in every strip mall. It's great. I loved it. You just drive by and there's a giant leaf, and it's like it just messes with your mind. But that's fascinating. That it's
Wait,
what?
Well, that's what it's for.
Right? That's fine. But what I thought was interesting visiting Colorado, because I was out there with a bunch of UUs, and nobody, if people are using it, no one's talking about it. That's what I could say. So I wondered culturally, when, everybody went out and smoked up publicly in Washington or something, but those are kind of the stoners. For regular people, that's what I was wondering, how it...
Yeah, most regular people don't do it. I mean, I listen to alternative rock stations, so they always have these commercials by these lawyers like, you can totally beat a DUI under marijuana, man. We can help do it. But
yeah, really well.
all the commercials on this radio station like it. They're like, oh, mortgage financing dudes, you better call these people. They're from Colorado. You want to support a native Colorado. I mean, the DJ does these things, and they all sound like owners. And I'm like, well, they play good music, so I guess I don't care. But
And you're stoned. You're stoned anyway.
Rich, it sounds like Rich Sermon material to me.
Oh, yeah.
But I think most people, like my grandma, my grandma, my mom moved here, and I mean, culturally, either you were before it was legal, and you are afterwards, or you weren't, and you really aren't afterwards. I mean, in Colorado, I mean, I think it was like over the summer or a little bit earlier in the spring, a governor took a pot shot at Colorado for saying that, you know, it's
a pot shot.
Pot shot?
Right.
What is?
And then the Colorado governor came back and said, we are the healthiest state in the nation. We have the least amount. I mean, it just went through all these statistics about how healthy it is, how the taxes are good, and the income is coming in, all the social programs they have, low teen birth rates. I mean, it's just a really healthy state, even though it has legal marijuana. And my mom did buy the liquid THC to vape. After she got a job, she decided, because they weren't going to test her. And she coughed so hard she peed her pants, and then she never did it again.
Oh, your mom loves you right now. Can I just say?
Oh,
Thank you for sharing that, Shauna. Yeah.
It's a
We'll
We'll be moving out soon.
all your stuff is in storage or in your own house.
we have a very good relationship.
Okay, let's talk about Palestine. All right.
Thank you, Hank. Thank you so much. Oh, jeez. That is
Actually, we did want to talk about General Assembly, where Patrice and I totally survived all you listeners chickened out.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
went
that's
down the
true.
side of the building sober. We were
yes, you did. You were. And I didn't chicken out.
Unlike the president.
I think Josh Man maybe would have liked to not have been sober, but
Okay. For those who don't know what we're talking about, one of you tell about what you did.
go ahead, Shauna.
Well, the Unitarian Universalist Association had a pledge over the edge to jumpstart the Terry Sweetster Giving Fund and to build up the endowment for that.
Can I just pause? I never understood who pledged where. I mean, did you have to pay to repel, or how did it work?
Good.
It was strongly encouraged, but you didn't have to.
No, because you could enter a lottery and win the lottery at random to be able to pledge to go over the edge. So the biggest thing was that you were committed to Unitarian Universalism in a bold way, and you had to write a little thing about how you were bold for Unitarian Universalism, and that mattered much more than the size of your pledge. And then so they just picked people at random to be able to go over the edge, and so it's fundraising. And also some people were walking around at GA saying, I'm going over the edge, will you pledge to help me go over the edge? And being able to, so it's kind of like a marathon, you know, where they run for miles, they give you money, so you don't have any running, you just sit in this harness and go on top of a building and fall over. It's much easier, I think, for fundraising than to do those Run for the Cure or those kinds of things. And so it was like I think it was like 8 or 10 stories at the convention. Yeah, that they
Sounds about right.
on top in a harness. And Patrice, you went before us, right?
Yeah. And I grinned the whole way down, and
I think it was 6 floors, but it's good. And like as time goes on, it'll become like 50
12.
flights of stairs.
20.
It'll just keep growing. This is good.
It'll become
Hey,
Mount
you weren't up there.
Kilimanjaro.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Oh, that's nothing. But you go on top. We'll see how tall it gets to you.
Yeah.
Was
If
it
you didn't do
scary?
it, you can't really talk about it.
Was
it scary?
The scariest part is always, because it so goes against our brain, is the part where you actually put your back to the wide open sky and have to actually step off. For me, that first step is the scariest part. After that, it's just like, woohoo! This is so fun. I was grinning going all the way down, you know. I was kind of bummed, though, because they said you couldn't do, like, the movie bounce. You know, when you watch TV and they're rappelling, it's always like they're bouncing and pushing way across from, and they come back and they push back again. They're like, none of that. So.
Yeah,
It was
you guys both looked happy and mellow. I would have been.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even want to think about the body functions I might have been doing if I was doing that. But You know, I was down below watching. You guys were like laughing and grinning, and Greg DeBoe, one of our military chaplains, was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. It's just totally boring. I mean, what's even interesting about it?" And I was like, "Okay, that looks terrifying to me." You know. So
I think it was really, it was really kind of a cool idea. I mean, I've been reflecting on it every once in a while. I think about the whole idea of GA, how they were trying to get people to basically speak their faith out loud. Really, that was kind of the message that I got, which may be incorrect, but I think that's what they were trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I think the boldly pledging piece of it was supposed to be part of, it was supposed to be kind of a foreshadowing of what they wanted us to do, you know. So you were supposed to, you're going to be doing this, you know, repelling, and I think there was this idea that people would talk about the fact that they're going to be repelling, and people would ask, and that did actually happen. So it's kind of, it's kind of interesting to think about how that whole thing worked, right, throughout GA.
Or how much easier it is to repel over 26 stories than it is to talk about your faith in the grocery store line, right? I mean,
I'll talk about my faith in the grocery store line anytime.
For the average Unitarian Universalist.
I do too, but yeah.
I mean compared to repelling 26 stories, just put me in the grocery store.
Isn't it? Wait, I thought it was 35.
They were really great
I thought it was the Freedom Tower in New York. I don't know.
That's where we were.
It's the World Trade Center, I know, you know.
Prepping us, too, because they had a little mock-up of the thing on top of the roof, and there was a bunch of UUA staff interviewing us for, I think they are going to do a video, I don't know if it's out yet or not, about why we wanted to take the pledge over the edge. And I took a video, too. I had a camera strapped to my arm, and so, like, when I was rappelling, I had my arm out like this the whole time, like, trying to get the view of people going, like, all over the place, so... I was scared, but I distracted myself. I was like, it doesn't matter that I'm about to fall because I need to get a good shot.
Shauna, were you really scared? You didn't look one bit scared.
Yeah, you didn't look scared.
No, like Greg, I've been in the military, so we went with much rougher, repelling kind of conditions and had a lot of fun doing that.
Because I thought to myself, because Shauna repelled with Chalice Man, who is a UU superhero, who was terrified and very clear about it. And I thought to myself, if I were terrified and repelling, I would do exactly what Chalice Man did and have Shauna Foster right next to me, because you were so calm. And I screamed myself hoarse down there just watching people. I couldn't stop, and I just was like, ah! That's just watching.
Well, isn't this going to be one of the new competencies that the MFC is going to test people on? You know, for non-anxious presence.
We need one more competency.
We push you off a building. We push you off a building and see how non-anxious can you be.
Right. You know, Scott, are you repelling with a person of color? Are you repelling with a superhero? It's all that stuff.
I got a couple really interesting. I got two really interesting comments out of that. First off, Scott Yeomans, who's on CLF staff, happened to be looking out of the, I guess it was the cafe at GA, and took this shot of me as I went by. And I think, actually, no matter who was in it, I happened to be in it, but I thought that was one of the best shots, because most of them, like most of the shots I have are the butt.
Up or down, right.
His people are coming down, you know. And he happened to be, he caught me right as I was, you know, going past. So that was a pretty cool shot. So I've had comments about, oh, there's a cover for your search packet.
It's a great
ministry. You better believe it, yeah.
And then the second comment I got,
they're going to go,
some of my POC colleagues who were like, you did what? Black people don't do things with ropes. And I was like, that's fine. They're totally joking, but I was like,
I'm trying to think. Did I see other people of color repelling?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I watched a lot of people come down because it was pretty hypnotic to be on the ground. Because, for one thing, it got less scary to watch as I watched more people. But the other thing was listening to the speeches afterwards was really inspiring. People just said a few words, and they were really relieved to be alive. So there was that energy, you know. but then they just would say like why they did it, and I hope somebody did shoot footage of that because it was inspiring.
Patrice was talking about.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that, yeah.
Wait, talk some more, Shauna.
Yeah, so Scott was in the coffee shop inside the building, and he got Patrice on the side there as she was coming down, smiling and looking great. So I agree that should be the cover for your packet.
I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
It's a good cover.
It is a great photograph, but you know, it sets a kind of a high bar.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. Maybe not the cover.
Superpower.
But for fundraising. You know.
I know. They're going to look at that. They're going to look at that and they're going to go, our steeple needs painting. And I think Patrice is the right candidate for ministry here.
Well, yeah,
exactly. She's not afraid of heights.
I do like the idea of it being annual fundraising, though, right? Like, you know, bid to, you know, say what Patrice has to repel.
Oh, what Patrice has to repel off of. Excellent. That, you know, $1,000 per story. You know,
there you go. Exactly. Got to be really high.
There you go.
It was great to come down too and to have the crowd of people cheering you on and actually wanting to hear what you had to say after you came over. So it was just a really energizing event. But there was lots of really great energizing events at General Assembly.
Yeah, what was everybody's favorite besides this? What else do people really love at GA? Let's do a little GA talk.
I loved the little piles of people that I saw around the TV. You know, the World Cup was going on. And there was a TV kind of tucked under one of the stairs. And it was just really cool to see sort of other Americans, you know, who wanted to be watching the World Cup, you know. So that was one of my highlights.
So what did people think of that water
Rebecca
fire?
Montgomery was great.
Yeah, she was good. What did people
Rebecca
think of the
Montgomery.
water fire thing?
Very relaxing.
Very relaxing.
I didn't understand it as public witness. This is just one of my things. I mean, I understood it as a great event, and I think it was a great event, but I did not understand framing it as our public witness.
I think it could have been if somebody had said something. Do you think that if there had been an introduction of all of us, I mean, people were looking at us, but they didn't actually know who we were in our shirts.
Why we were there.
But wait a minute. Public witness isn't about asking people to witness us. It's about us witnessing other people's lives and what's going on with them. And I just thought to reframe that as public witness means, look, we're visible. I mean, yes, we want to be visible when we're standing with immigrants or when we're doing something like that. But I just thought it was a witness event in the evangelical sense of the word, allegedly. I don't know if people actually talked about their faith to anyone. But to me, public witness is always about publicly witnessing something and reflecting it. You know, like the people who went down to D.C. last week and either got arrested or supported people who got arrested because of the children at the border. They're being witnessed doing that, but what they're doing is pointing to the children at the border. But to me, this was about pointing, look at me. So I just had
unless we framed it by adding, you know, will you stand with me as one of our songs said,
stand with me to do what? Go to Waterfire and have a good time?
I didn't get it either until I listened to James Ford on this show talk about how Providence was really struggling, and that whole waterway had been boarded over at one point. And so, I mean, maybe it's a witness of celebration after things are good. I mean, do we have to witness when people are upset?
Obviously.
I don't think only. Yeah.
But obviously it's not. No, obviously, like we're trying to like look back and sort of say, well, we were doing this. We weren't. It was just sort of a party. It was, you know, kind of pretentious. It's, you know, it's an arty thing that it
had potential.
All my friends outside. Well, it had potential to be able to hang out with your friends. But it's not really like, you know, certainly it's not a witness thing. It could have been, I mean, it could have been, if we wanted to do it as a great PR thing, that would have been great. You know, it's us, hey, we're here, we're sponsoring it this tonight, we're going to have some bands, whatever, that'll be fine. But it was
what Shauna said, though, is where it could have gone.
It could have, but it didn't.
Right, I think that's our point. It could, the point is it had potential.
Yeah, I can understand the discomfort with calling it public witness, but this was something that we sponsored, and we wanted to And okay, let's call it something different. I like the idea that we effectively went into the neighborhood and said, let us provide something for you. And one story, I hope it's okay for me to tell this. I won't say who I heard it from. But apparently there was, the original idea was that we were going to co-sponsor this, and then I won't say who it was, but another organization not related to us and kind of against our values.
A lot against our values, I heard.
A lot against our values. Stepped up to be the co-sponsor, and we said, no, let's figure out how we can do this thing.
Sponsor the whole thing.
Sponsor the whole thing. So I can understand the discomfort with it being, with calling it witness, but I really like this idea of us going out and in some way serving. So here where I am, just totally coincidental with the fact that I moved there. My neighborhood last weekend had a block party, and it was sponsored by a church in the area, not mine. And so I was really kind of wondering, okay, because we're in the South, right? I'm used to the pizza party lock-ins, as evangelism events and stuff. And it wasn't like that at all. They had it down to, it's a wealthy church, I think, and they had it down to an art. They have this, truck that comes out and a grill, and they paid for the food. But after that, it was just a matter of getting neighbors together, which I see as a pretty big need. So, the idea of what can we do when we go into a city for the people who live there. Sure, you can argue that this wasn't that this was not us witnessing those who are in need, but I don't think it was all bad either.
I don't think they even called it public witness. I heard what they were calling it was just we want people to talk about their faith.
No, they totally called it a public witness. It was.
So I heard we were supposed to talk about our faith with others.
Right, that's true too. But if you
they said that, but they didn't mean it.
No, I don't mean to critique the event. I think it was a really strong event. But I knew people who were trying to get attention paid to the hotel workers early on from Providence and had no luck, and were told by the folks who planned GA, no, this is our public witness event. And they were saying, but we're going to be in the middle of these hotel problems with workers who blah, blah, blah. And the event for hotel workers I couldn't go to. It was, crammed in on Saturday on top of a bunch of other stuff. And I think it's great to do stuff like that. We've done it in the past. We've had events, and I think it's fabulous to talk to the local people. I just really don't think it's the same as witnessing to our values. So I will get off of that, but
Yeah.
Did we always do a public witness event? It seemed like that came up.
Yeah. We always did. Back when I came to the UUA, it was kind of whatever it is, I'm against it, and it was like, what do we hate about where we're going? Let's go tell them how much we hate it. And it was
We're coming to town to wag our fingers at you guys.
It was horrible. And so then we started, remember last year we did that one in Louisville that was about the environment with the local interfaith group. And it was celebratory. There was music, but it was down along the river. And there were local people from Interfaith Power and Light, I think, had organized it. And we were part of it. And that felt really good to me, to be part of something bigger with the local community talking about the environment there. So I'm all for not doing it on top of people, at people, getting the locals to say what they want. And maybe some other local people really wanted this, and I didn't hear that part of the story. I mean, James certainly was very positive about it when he was on the show. And I think doing it was great. I think sponsoring it, although I am a fan of co-sponsoring with people we disagree with and finding common ground. I don't know who the group was, and I haven't heard that story. But
it would have been, I heard the same story. It would have been the only thing that people talked about.
So it was like a hate group. It was like a hate group kind of group. Yeah.
I haven't had any confirmation that this was true, but it's funny that Joanna heard the same story, and I'm sure we didn't hear it from the same person.
Yeah.
There were so many people there.
So
this is one of our biggest
I hate
right?
mime.
We have 6 minutes left for our show, the VUU. capturing our summer vacation.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so one thing that one thing I loved about GA was actually, I have to brag on my new church here, but this is something I think every church should consider doing this. The youth group here raised the money, and of course the adults helped them and threw in money, and the entire youth group went to General Assembly. And we're in Texas, so it's not like it was, the youth group from Boston going over or something. And I haven't been able to talk with all of them, but those that I have talked to, it was really something, exciting, and what a great, I just love the idea that this is our values, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is. I love it. I love it.
It was one of the cool things that I saw, now that you mentioned it, is that at previous GAs, I've seen the youth room be kind of somewhere else, and because my partner is a DRE, sometimes I know where that somewhere else is, and it's usually not on the beaten path, shall we say. But this was so great because you had to walk past it, going into the convention center, coming out, and there was always this incredible buzz, and I think it was just so fabulous to have our youth so visible, in this way in which they are doing their work. It's just really cool. I enjoyed that.
Get them out of the basement.
And the chantlers that we had for the banner parade, everybody loved the chalice antlers that CLF had. I was wearing them, and people wanted them, and we auctioned them off, I think, too, because people really, really, really wanted antlers that had chalices on them.
2 chalices for the message. For the
Chantlers,
message, you can be part of 2 congregations, your local and CLF, just to message that. Yeah.
Nice.
Well done, Meg. Well done.
We had fun. We made those chantlers here in this house. I have to say it was really fun to do something so concrete for a change and so completely non-digital.
All right, next year, though, I want CLF gives you wings.
The wings.
I love it.
I'm looking forward to seeing the wings.
And not being...
I think Victoria's Secret is selling surplus wings. But,
There we go, yeah, exactly. And we'll use them also for the Christmas pageant as well. It'd be perfect.
I thought the spirit of GA was great. They had 8 new worship services within the plenary, which I thought Tom and I both were part of leading those, and I thought that really made for a really good feeling. I thought Jim Keyes, our new moderator, was fabulous. I thought he just really came in, and Ginny and Denny are tough acts to follow, and he just was himself, and really just, I thought, a fabulous presence, and I thought, there was very positive energy there, is what I felt. A lot of people just alive with what they're doing, and Faithify launched, and all kinds of stuff was going on, and it
was a great space.
And the throwdown.
Great city.
Throwdown. Yep.
I thought it. I think we're in a overall spot right at the moment. The whole UUA. I mean, it's hard to get. There weren't the usual crankiness. I mean, and I hang out with cranky people a lot of times, snarky people, and
just the people near you, not reflective of anything about you.
No. Actually, I bring that out in people because I'm such a bluebird of happiness that people want to come up to me and say, "Tom, don't you see how awful this is?" It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. Anyway, but that's why I hang out with Hank, because I bring out the worst in Hank.
Right.
Hank's like, thanks.
He wants just Hank says thanks, right? So. Yeah. But I think things are pretty positive right at the moment.
So and, Tom, did you find out the dates for Selma?
Yes, we did. It's March 5th through 8th, 2015. There'll be a whole huge thing there. Looks, they're talking about like bringing down, hundreds of UUs and,
Who's they? If folks want to get in touch or get...
Whoever they are, the big they that make all the decision.
Okay.
All the big they.
The big they in the sky.
The big they in the sky. All of them. But they have a mission statement and a covenant among themselves.
There you
so
go.
They're doing really well.
They do, and we
they have
don't.
missioned us to go to Selma, and we're going to go. I'm going to go, so who else is
Tom,
going?
stop. Tom, stop talking. Stop talking. Meg.
No mission, no covenant, but another hour gone by with the people at the VUU.
I'm great.
Great to see you all again.
I'm pleased to be back with folks. I